On a cold December evening, a little girl sat by her bedroom window, watching the city lights flicker like distant stars. With crayons spread across the floor and hope filling her heart, she began writing a letter to Santa. Unlike other children who asked for toys or games, her wish was painfully simple and deeply human. She asked for a dad, someone to hold her hand on the way to school, to read her bedtime stories, and to make the house feel less quiet at night. Every word she wrote carried the innocence of a child and the weight of a loneliness she was too young to fully understand. She folded the letter carefully, sealing it with trust and belief, certain that Santa would hear her. What she didn't know was that her letter would travel far beyond the North Pole. Through a series of small, unseen events, it ended up on the polished desk of a billionaire known for his success, power, and influence, but also for the silence of his empty home. Surrounded by wealth yet starved of warmth, he lived a life filled with meetings and numbers but lacking real connection. When he read the letter, something inside him shifted. The girl's simple wish pierced through years of emotional distance and carefully built walls. Her words reminded him of everything money had failed to buy: love, belonging, and purpose. In that moment, two very different lives became quietly connected by a single innocent prayer. What began as a child's hopeful letter became the spark that would change everything, proving that sometimes the smallest wishes carry the greatest power. The letter arrived on his desk like any other piece of mail, tucked between contracts and financial reports that defined his daily life. At first glance, it seemed out of place. Handwritten, uneven, and sealed with a child's care rather than corporate precision. Curious, he opened it without realizing that this small act would disturb the carefully controlled world he had built around himself. As he read the simple words of a little girl asking Santa for a dad, a quiet stillness filled the room. This man had everything the world admired: towering offices, endless wealth, and the power to shape industries. Yet behind the glass walls and polished floors was a life marked by silence. No laughter echoed through his halls, no one waited for him at home, and no voice called him by anything other than his title. Success had demanded sacrifices, and without noticing, he had traded warmth and connection for achievement and control. The letter forced him to confront what he had long avoided. The child's innocent longing mirrored his own unspoken emptiness. He realized that despite his fortune, he had never felt truly needed, never been someone's safe place. For the first time in years, his achievements felt hollow, and his wealth seemed powerless against loneliness. Sitting alone in his office, he read the letter again and again, each time feeling its message sink deeper. It awakened a forgotten part of him, the desire to belong, to protect, to love beyond himself. That small, fragile letter became a mirror, reflecting a truth he could no longer ignore. Success without love is just another kind of poverty. What began as a child's innocent request slowly unfolded into something far greater than either of them could have imagined. The little girl never expected her letter to Santa to be answered in any way at all, yet destiny had already started weaving its quiet plan. The billionaire, still shaken by her words, found himself unable to forget her simple wish. For the first time in years, his thoughts were no longer consumed by profit or power, but by a child he had never met and a feeling he had long buried. Drawn by a sense of responsibility he couldn't explain, he searched for the story behind the letter. When their paths finally crossed, there was no grand display of wealth or status, only a hesitant meeting filled with uncertainty and fragile hope. The girl saw not a billionaire, but a man who listened. He saw not a stranger, but a child whose loneliness echoed his own. In those quiet moments, something real began to form. Trust grew slowly, built on shared silences, small smiles, and simple routines. The girl's laughter brought warmth into spaces that had once felt cold and empty, while the man discovered a purpose beyond himself, someone who needed him not for his money but for his presence. Their broken hearts, shaped by loss and solitude, began to heal together. In time they learned that family is not defined by blood or wealth, but by love, care, and commitment. The child's innocent wish did more than change her life. It transformed his as well. Fate had answered the letter in the most unexpected way, proving that when hearts connect, love becomes the greatest gift of all.